Welcome everyone joining us this morning for our webinar on boosting your business tech on a limited budget. We've got Petrie van Zyl and in the room with us from Dial and Nerd, and the normal DigiBiz team is here too. We're going to cover a bit of what DigiBiz does and what's coming, events that you can look forward before we jump into the topic. And then by the end, Nomvuyo Bengani, our lead coach, will guide us through a coaching question or two to apply what we've covered in the event to ourselves. And as normal, Rashida will guide us through signing up onto the DigiBiz network. If you're not there, you better get there, because as from our next event, you will not be able to join the event if you're not on the network. You'll actually join the event through the network. But we'll talk all about that a bit later on. So I'm going to ask Rashida if you can introduce Petrie van Zyl will be the presenter today. In the room with me is Rashida Pandey, our program administrator, Sifiso and Wanwe, the program director, and Nomvuyo Bengani, so the lead coach. If you are familiar with DigiBiz by now, you know all of us. We've done quite a lot of events and have been able to connect with people in the past year or so quite significantly. And then, of course, Nomvuyo Bengani is our lead coach. And as I said, she will, at the end of the event, help us to apply some of these things that we'll cover to our own situations. And then Petrie and Melissa, Petrie van Zyl, Melissa van Zyl, welcome to our event here today. I'm going to ask Rashida just to do the introductions, and then we'll proceed from there.
Sure. Thank you, Christoph. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I'm really excited to be here. The first encounter I ever had with Dial and Nerd was one of my first clients. We were trying to set up a modem back in the day, and I remember just knowing that Dial and Nerd had a very professional service. They send out actual text on site if you need that. So it's just a really good all-round service if you need tech support. And really, when I joined DigiBiz, I realized that those are the same challenges people are still currently facing, setting up modems, getting their devices ready, connecting all of them together, making sure they all work smartly. So that is really the essence of today's webinar. So without further ado, and thank you so much, Petrie, for joining us today, the CEO of Dial and Nerd. And with him, we have the beautiful Melissa van Zyl, also from Dial and Nerd as well, here to share with us the experiences about how can we actually boost our business tech on a budget. Yes, we may have the basic PC or the basic laptop, but really, how can these things work together in a way that is best for your business without breaking the bank, of course? Okay, so I'll now hand over to you, and thank you so much, colleagues and audience, for being here, the usual suspects. Really appreciate you, and yes, over to you, Petrie.
Thank you, Rashida.
We'll first pause Petrie for a moment because we want to tell the great news about what's up and what's coming for with our events and so on for DigiBiz. So I'm first going to just get the screen share. Something jumped here on my screen now, so I'm just kind of like quickly moving it so that we can do a proper screen share for you. And then I'm going to hand over to Sifiso to guide us through that. So let's get the screen share going again. If I can find my Zoom controls. Too many windows. There we are. So, and then I will hand over to Sifiso to guide us through our discussion. Sorry, we jump back. Sifiso in one way we know by now, and he will be telling us all about what's coming up with DigiBiz. Over to you, Sifiso.
Thank you very much. Thank Christoph, and again, welcome everyone. Excited to be here, and thank you to the Dial and Nerd team to have partnered with us to again come together and share ways and means of making sure that in our journeys we try to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the work that we do in and for small businesses. I won't be long, and mine is just to highlight for you that DigiBiz is still here in full force, and we are looking at different ways of making sure that we continue the great work that we started last year. And this is one of such events that we are going to be having into the future. The members network is still very much active in the various platforms that we have, and most of you, of course, are familiar with these. And in terms of the current work that we're doing, we have a fantastic project, exciting project that we're doing with the African Development Bank, which I think takes further some of the work that we've been doing within DigiBiz, and in it particularly, there's a course for practitioners in townships. We have 2 particular townships that are working with and is still in the area of digital technology, and I think that's important. And if you keep in touch with us, you will be participating in some of the events that are coming up, and that's really going to keep us busy for better part of this year. Productivity SA is a new partnership that we have annexed as part of the DigiBiz work that we're doing. And here we're looking at developing a practical learning series for businesses. And we're hoping that you will also be part of that. We've already run such an event, and there are more that are coming into the future. We're in discussions with Zoho, as you know, and we've been in discussions with them for quite a while, and there is a course in CRM and online apps that is coming up soon. And of course, if you stay in touch, you will also get further news in this, and you'll also be able to participate. You know of our own ongoing relationship with IBASA, and of course the opportunities for practitioner CPD points that you earn in the work that we do with IBASA. And again, you have an opportunity if you stay in touch with us to also have sight and participate in those activities. The 3 key events that are coming in the next month or 2. Of course, today we're doing the business tech on a budget in partnership with DialNet, and thank you very much, DialNet team. And we in another 2 weeks we'll be doing supporting township entrepreneurs, and then which is part of the African Development Bank program. And then our partnership with Productivity SA on the 9th of May, we will start the learning process there. So please stay in touch. I think the key message here is that all these future activities will be taken through via the platform. So we know that the majority of you have been walking this journey with us, and quite a number of you are already on the platform, but we would like to encourage those that are not yet on the platform to please register on the platform, and so that you can participate in these activities. The next event on the 25th of April, you can already register, and you can use the QR code. You can also go and register on that link that's provided, and you will be sharing some more details as we go along. The important thing is just stay in touch on the platform. You'll get all these news that are coming up. And again, we will, the African Development Bank project, there are quite a number of activities that are going to be coming up, and just stay in touch, and you will get all the information that you need to participate in this. We'll definitely be recruiting for this course that is going to be taking place in mid-June. Starting mid-June, and we would like you to be really the first people that know about this and participate and help us bring together a strong team that will participate and be trained in this important program. So please, the main message here is the DigiBiz network is still very much alive. Our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page, and our platform, our WhatsApp group is particularly alive with a lot of activities and interactions among everyone that's on it. So please stay in touch. And if you are not on it, again, at the end, I think my good friend Rashida will give you an opportunity, I think, towards the end to also just get freshened up on how you can join the network if you need help in that area. Thank you very much. Let me hand over back to you, and let's get to the real business of the day. Thank you, Christoph.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks, Afiso. So here we are, ready to go. We're going to hand over to Petrie now to guide us through the discussion on technology. We're going to use terms like OPEX and CapEx and so on. So put your accounting pants on too, because it's about budgets and financing the technology. So we have quite a focused discussion here today, but it's a key one, because without laying out on the technology that we need, we will not be able to make those progress. If we don't have the tools to work with, we are going to struggle and be left behind. So the topic, of course, that we are covering today is related to what Petrie is working on. I was, Rashida, you say you were a client of DialNerd. I was 15 years ago. I had a little business with 20 people, and DialNerd was they were there with us once a week, helping us through the, as a regular stop. And if we had a problem, they were just a call away. It was just the start of the internet and stuff, when you still had to switch on the modem that would, remember that time? So we've come quite a way.
Sometimes.
In what we have available. But welcome, Petrie, CEO of DialNerd, and I know you've been involved in DialNerd for quite a while. You've been working with small businesses and focusing on the needs of small businesses, because we as small businesses can't have a tech department, so it's the entrepreneur. It's either entrepreneur being the tech department, or they have DialNerd or someone else in a similar situation as a service provider. So welcome, Petrie. I just want to share first, as we get into this the event, the results from our poll. You can see that, can you? Petrie, you can see the poll result?
Yep.
Yeah, so fertile ground for marketing for DialNerd, 59% people didn't, and 12% not sure, so but a third of the people knew about DialNerd, so quite a few people that got to know about DialNerd. And of course, there's a niche in service provision there and so on. So something for us to look out to. We need that help often. Yeah, I'm not surprised. 5 or less is kind of like the majority of people, and then 6 to 20, some, and more than 20, a few too, So that really small business, 5 people or less, kind of the setup that we need is perhaps different from a larger organization of 20 or more people, but we do have a sprinkle of them in the room too. And then I would like to hear what your thoughts are also around the third question, Petrie. People subscribing to online applications and solutions, so yeah, close to half are kind of always there, and the other half sometimes there, a few of us. 6% we'll have to explain quickly but I saw you've got a slide on these things in your presentation too, so we will cover that. But Petrie, what are your thoughts on this front?
Yeah, that's very interesting step, guys. Christoph, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you and your members, and welcome to everybody. We are really privileged to be part of this panel. It's a topic that we are very passionate about. So thank you for the opportunity. Very interesting results here. I'm guessing, from our perspective, being in the market for more than 2.5 decades. Christoph, you mentioned setting up routers. Those were fun times, like way back. And I think the younger generation is starting to come through. So technology that the older generation struggled with is much more acceptable to small business owners nowadays. So I'm very happy to see that there's already a significant amount of adoption of some of these services within small businesses, and that they're taking benefit from that. So guys, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you guys today. And thank you for the intro as well, Christoph and Rashida. I don't think I could have done a better job myself. Just a little bit of DialNerd about us, just so that you guys know us and know where we're coming from. We also started as a small business. We started way back in 1998, and predominantly started supporting home users and small business owners like yourself. And that's, we've evolved over the years in engaging with those, home users and small businesses to be one of South Africa's leading IT support and advisory services to the small business market. Like, Dial-A-Net has always been on the forefront of new technology, engaging which technology is relevant for our customer base and our market, so that we can advise you guys on how to benefit from these solutions going forward, enabling you to really rapidly scale and grow your business with the use of technology. We are really in the middle of the digital revolution, and the impact of technology on how we do business today, it just cannot be ignored. It's difficult to imagine running any sort of business without any form of technology, whether that's email or payment platforms or accounting platforms. It has really gone from a nice to have initially, and maybe even we can call it a little bit gimmicky at the start, to becoming an essential part of any business. And as technology evolved over the years, and businesses has become a lot more dependent on technology, and we've seen a lot of small businesses struggle with just keeping up with that ever-changing digital landscape. Technology is one of the sectors that is never constant. There's a saying in IT that the only constant is change. It is rapidly evolving. New technologies are coming to the fore on a daily basis, and it's small companies that just don't have the insight and the context to that really scale to make full benefit of these solutions. When we're talking about scaling your business and the adoption of new technology and financing your ever-growing requirements of technology solutions, like we often see that small business really struggle with that, and it's a daunting task. IT infrastructure and solution often requires a significant financial investment, which puts enormous strain on smaller businesses when cash flow is prioritized over progress. And that's where we want to see those engagements and those conversations happening in terms of how can I access these types of solutions without that significant capital investment into technology. Fortunately, technology has come quite a way. Like, I remember, about 10 years ago, a lot of the solutions that Dial-A-Net provided to customers, just because that was the only solutions available at that point, required a significant capital investment. We're talking about, servers in excess of 100,000 Rand, 150,000 Rand, to literally give you business grade email. So what you guys currently have with Microsoft 365, for instance, where you've got access to your mailbox on multiple devices and shared calendars and all of these things that's pretty stock standard nowadays, required a significant investment back in the day. Now, technology has progressed to such a point that these kind of systems and solutions that were limited to people who could afford it back in the days, it is now much more accessible and affordable to the small business owner. So Christoph, if you can maybe just skip to the slide for us with some of the online services that we've mentioned in the poll as well. There's a number of products that I've just put on the board here, and this is just a few. This is a handful. Like, products like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Sage or Pastel, Azure, AWS. I'm pretty sure you guys all heard of these products if you are not currently using them. And these solutions, all of them required a significant investment in IT 10 years ago. You needed on-premise hardware, software, licenses, that all needed to be paid upfront so that you could have use of those servers. With the development of technology, most of these servers has been taken away. The burden of the capital investment and the maintenance of these solutions has been taken away from the small business owner and the end user and made available to these people on a much more affordable and accessible commercial model. So, Christoph, if you can maybe just go to the next slide for me, and this is a conversation. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So in a lot of our conversations and what we see with our clients, this is usually just in a graph format. What we see, how IT budgets work, you know, in reality. So if we start with the green dotted line, you know, is our predictions of how our business is going to grow over the next financial year. And in most cases, you know, we kind of envisage that to be a straight line, like we see kind of going up. And the only way for us to kind of counter that growth over time is by investing in our IT. Now, what happened in the past, and you'll see that red staggered line, that used to be the capital investment in your IT, guys. And I'm not going to use a lot of acronyms. I know that our IT people love our acronyms, so I'm going to try and keep it to the minimum so that you guys can understand. So if I do say anything, just please let us know so that I can explain it a little bit further. You'll see CapEx and OpEx. Pretty straightforward. CapEx is capital expenditure, that is upfront money that needs to be paid, versus OpEx, which is operational expenditure, which becomes more of a monthly cost instead of a capital upfront investment. So what we see with the red staggered line was you know, in the past, the capital investments, that upfront money that needed to be paid into your you know, IT solutions to keep up with your company growth. And because it's such a difficult thing to predict your company growth, we often see that staggered investment. You know, you invest money into your IT to meet the demand of your growth. And you can only do that in stages, because you can only do that as the funds are available or when the need arises. The reality, though, is a company never grows in a straight line. You guys will all know what I'm talking about. It is very seldom that we just see consistent growth of a company with no dips or peaks throughout the history of your existence. In reality, it looks much more like the black squiggle line that we see there. You know, it goes up and down as the economy changes, as you know, the market changes, external factors like you know, COVID and lockdown had a massive impact on small businesses a couple of years ago, and these things cannot be predicted. The problem with that is if you do have that up and down growth with your company that's in line with external factors, that is very difficult to predict and to budget for. And when it comes to those capital layouts to invest in your IT, once you've invested that money into your infrastructure or your IT solutions, the money is spent. If your staff complement goes down or the market contracts and you see kind of a dip in your growth and you have to unfortunately scale down on your staff, your IT expenditure remains exactly the same. You've spent that money. You're just not fully utilizing it at the moment. So in essence, it is wasted money. On the flip side, you know, you could also see rapid growth within your company, which you didn't foresee. Your staff complement might peak. You might take on, you know, 2, 3, 5 more staff members because you landed a big project and you didn't foresee that, and you didn't make provision for that growth in your budget in terms of your IT expenditure. So often businesses find themselves playing catch up with the demand of their end users, where the IT systems are just not able to deliver what is required for that company to operate. So, and this has been the problem with that CapEx model in the past, you know, that we've seen small businesses struggle with. Apart from the fact that funds are not always available. It is just that projection of your company growth is just so difficult to predict. So the way that technology has moved on and solutions are being provided to businesses and small businesses nowadays is available on a much more scalable, commercial model, where you don't have to necessarily invest upfront capital into systems and solutions that your business requires. And that's that blue squiggly line that we see there. That's the OpEx model. The OpEx model is very scalable to your business, where you can subscribe to most of the services, and even hardware that your business requires on a term basis, on a subscription basis, and on a per user basis, depending on how many people in the business uses this specific solution. You will only pay a subscription for those specific users, which allows you to scale. Because if your business now all of a sudden grows by 5 people and 5 more people need to have access to that platform, it is literally just a question of adding 5 more subscriptions to that service. As opposed to in the past, that might have required significant investment in your systems again, whether it was server upgrades or license upgrades or software upgrades, it required, investment. Nowadays, most of these services like Microsoft 365, security products, and we'll go into a couple of them now, is really structured in a way that you can pick and choose these services as you require them. And the beauty of it is, and this is, we've seen a massive impact in COVID once again, where organizations had to unfortunately shrink staff. And the one thing that they couldn't necessarily scale down was their IT, because they were already committed. They already spent that money. Where we saw small businesses, being able to adapt much more easier to that kind of lockdown environment, were the people that were already on these OpEx operational models, because now they all of a sudden needed to let 5 staff go, and all that they needed to do was cancel those subscriptions for those staff members, and their operational expenses immediately decrease along with their staff complement. I just want to, is there any questions around that? Should we maybe leave that for later? I think let's maybe just make a note of some questions around this topic, and we can discuss it later in the fall. Krista, I think we can go to the next slide. So these are, the issues that small businesses struggle with when we're talking about capital expenditure. It's the risk of overspending, because we just don't know what the future holds, and we have to spend that money on IT infrastructure. There's no flexibility or scale, like we mentioned in the previous slide. With the OpEx model, we can adjust that with your staff complement, whereas with the CapEx model, it's an upfront investment, regardless of what your staff complement is going to do over the next year. There's an element of depreciation of IT assets. Unfortunately, IT assets, is not, as much as we want to call it an investment, it's not really an investment. It's like a car, it depreciates over time. And unfortunately, with IT equipment, there's not much of a resale, option to it either. So you're pretty much stuck with depreciating assets, over time. We're sitting with delayed purchasing decisions because it requires funding. We need to gather that funding. It might involve loans, it might involve investors. And often, small businesses find themselves in a situation where they need to make rapid decisions in terms of operations and production. And what's holding them back is they just cannot proceed with it because the funds aren't available, and that's delaying that purchasing cycle. And then unpredictable budgets. Again, budgets. I'm sure you all work with budgets on an annual basis. It is pretty much looking into the crystal ball. It's the best effort guess, a guess of what's going to happen in the future. And often we find ourselves either under budgeting for certain elements of your business or over budgeting for certain elements of your business. And with the OPEX model, it's much easier to to plan out for that very uncertain future that you guys face on an annual basis. Thank you, Krista. Krista, we can go to the next slide. So a couple of acronyms. So warning, just two of them. I'm not going to do too much. There's two elements that are very relevant to the OPEX model. One is called SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. Now, Software as a Service, I think most of you guys are already very familiar with. You know, that's when we're talking about Microsoft 365, you know, Xero accounting, Zoho, as saw Sofiso mentioned earlier, you know, CRM packages, accounting software, productivity software, security software, which is a big talking point in IT management currently. We've seen a big shift from reactive maintenance on IT infrastructure and IT you know, models to a much more focused approach to information security. Unfortunately, there is an increasing risk of security as businesses move, you know, and adopt new technologies, and keeping your data safe, keeping your data safe, and keeping your customers' data safe is becoming increasingly important. And we see developments on that particular skew of IT constantly on the move. It's like a chess game, you know, between the good guys and the bad guys. You know, as soon as the good guys make a move in security, the bad guys figure a way around that. So there's constant development on that security forefront, and that's a very important topic. And you know, it's like I can talk about security for days because it does become a bit of a rabbit hole. Fortunately, security software and network software, security software has become a lot more accessible to small businesses through these SaaS models, software as a service models, where in the past a significant investment again had to be put into security hardware and software and licenses, which is now available in most cases on rental basis or you know, term basis, per user basis, and just making it a lot more accessible for smaller businesses to also have you know, business grade security on their systems. Next slide, Krista. My second acronym for the day, and that's where I'm going to leave it, is HAAS, and that is not the Afrikaans word for rabbit. HAAS is a hardware as a service, very similar to SaaS. It's just software versus hardware. HAAS is, you know, one of those elements that is still developing. Like it's a very, like, IT hardware has become commoditized as we speak. In the past, again, we used to spend a lot of money on actual IT hardware, whether it being servers, network switches, firewalls, laptops, workstations, you name it. All of these things were capital expenses and investments into your business, again, which is very difficult to scale. So a lot of people have made these hardware requirements available on a per service model, where servers, you know, very few customers nowadays actually have on-premise servers anymore. Like that is something that is being phased out over time. I actually cannot remember the last time that Dylaned actually did a server implementation. Most of our business models and implementations nowadays happen within the cloud, you know, platforms like SharePoint and hosted servers and Azure. Workstations and laptops are available on a rental basis, and whether that's on a short-term rental basis or a long-term rental basis, you know, a lot of companies are making those options available to their customers as well to allow them to scale. The same with network and security equipment, which usually is fairly expensive. You know, it's being made available to customers on lease or rental agreements. And, you know, that usually comes along with an element of support, license upgrades. You know, as long as you've got that rental agreement in place, you don't really need to worry about that equipment. We're also seeing a move from having actual physical hardware and working on physical hardware, and the brunt of the work happening on that workstation itself being moved to the cloud. So, and I don't want to get too technical here, but there is in the future, and this is already happening, where people have virtual machines in the cloud, and they've got very basic endpoint devices, very basic workstations or laptops, which pretty much just needs to be able to access the internet. It can be the lowest spec machine that you could imagine. All it needs to be able to do is connect to the internet and connect them to their virtual workstation where all of the production happens, all of the brunt work happens there. So all of your you know, hardware requirements that you used to have on your local machine is now sitting in the cloud. And the beauty of that is it's fully scalable. So if you are busy with a large scale project and you need a very strong machine with high specifications, instead of going to buy a machine like that for a short term, that you're only going to use for a short term time, you can either rent it or you can spin up a virtual workstation and let it do the grunt work for you. And once you're done with that project, you can switch it off and you don't have that expenditure anymore. So that's just a little bit about, you know, HaaS, and there's a lot of options, and I would encourage you guys to engage with either us or whoever your IT provider is around those options, because it really does make your life as a small business owner, especially in terms of cash flow, a lot easier. Christoph, can maybe go to the next slide for us. There we go. So that's the benefits of, you know, our OpEx expenditure. You know, it's lower upfront costs, no need to pay for technology upfront. You avoid asset depreciation, and you always have the most up-to-date hardware available and software available. Reduced responsibility of maintenance, and this is a big thing, guys. Like, to our detriment as IT, you know, support companies. You know, obviously in the past, you know, we made money out of broken systems and maintaining systems. It was just unfortunately the way that it was structured and the way that technology was in the past is you had to spend a lot of money upfront to get those solutions in, but then also you needed somebody to constantly maintain those services and solutions. And we've seen with the move to the HaaS and the SaaS, you know, commercial models and OpEx models, that the requirement for ongoing maintenance is vastly reduced, because that responsibility of maintaining those hardware, that hardware and those systems is now removed from the small business owner and moved to whomever provides that solution. So if you are currently on Office 365 and making use of the Office 365 mail delivery system, in the past you had to have an Exchange server that cost a lot of money. It cost a lot of money to keep up. It was constantly going down. Mail wasn't delivered. You need to get us out to come and fix it constantly. We've seen that support requirement in Office 365 disappear completely. As soon as people move to that cloud environment, it just, you know, it's one of those services where it either works or doesn't work. It doesn't need to maintain. And in terms of service accessibility, it's always online. So it never really goes down. So, and that benefits you as the customer, because you are ensured that, first of all, you don't have those expenses when it comes to maintaining those systems, but you're also guaranteed a service and accessibility to that service. Less red tape in terms of IT budgets. IT budget approvals are much simpler. It's easier to scale because most of these solutions are based on a per user cost. And it provides you with a much more stable IT budget, and much easier to predict your spending going forward. And that is pretty much it from my side. Christoph, if we can maybe just go to the next slide. I'll contact us if you guys, sure. Dylaned has been very involved in the small business, market. We're very passionate about it. For us, this is where we see the future of our economy. Like, we love to work with partners from a very small scale and see them grow through those tiers. We love taking on and supporting and advising companies when they are still small, because the truth of the matter is, if those implementations and the correct guidance is given from the get-go, there's a lot less reactive fixes that needs to be done and catch-up work that needs to be done, and it provides you with a much more stable platform in terms of your technology to rapidly grow and scale your business. For us, we love doing that. We're very passionate about it, and we want to make a free IT audit available to all the participants here today, where we will look into your environment and exactly how you guys operate, what you're currently using, and from that report, provide you with some advice going forward. Areas that you should be focusing on, areas that your company is good at, and we don't have to worry too much about it, but really just give you some guidance and advice going forward. We don't see ourselves as a reactive IT support company. We see ourselves as your technology partner, and we would love to be on that journey with you and advise you along the way. So we do have a free tech audit available for anybody that is interested. You can reach out to us. That's our contact details. And hopefully we can assist you. So that's pretty much it from me. I don't know if we're going to do some Q&As.
Yes, we can do. I'm sure there are questions, Petrie. But just by the way, we launched the poll in Zoom. So if you are interested in taking up that fabulous offer of a free audit and a report, Joel has got his hand up. People can raise their hands. You can type in the text chat. You can even do that without mentioning your name. If there's something that you want to ask, it's actually from a friend, sort of that you want to ask on their behalf. Debbie's hand is up too. So there are some questions for us to address. But first, thank you very much. So make sure to respond to the poll. And then Dylaned will be in contact with you in terms of that offer to do the assessment and the audit and the report for you. What of course is of interest, Petrie, is that to note that most of people in the room here are 5 or less users on their IT systems, so, and in fact, a lot of small businesses are operating in that space, even if they've got more employees, maybe that the IT component, because they're kind of in production or, sort of some other activities that's not knowledge-based, that they have a limited number of people that are on the IT systems.
And it makes this topic so much more relevant for that size of business, because often we don't have the funds to do what's necessary.
Yeah. So we will get to the Q&A just now. I'm gonna end the poll soon. So if anyone is still interested in getting that free assessment, click so there now. And then Melissa, perhaps if you want to share the contact details in the text chat, or Rashida can do that for us too, so that if anyone missed the slide, it will still be there for you to follow through on. There's lots to be done and to be learned. I've got a little new joke for you, Petrie. So you say haas is not a rabbit in Afrikaans, but there's another Afrikaans word which is haas, which is quick.
Quick, yeah.
Yes. So choose the right haas. Don't be the rabbit. Be the one that's quick.
Maybe it's intentional.
Yeah, I saw someone who was it that said, Debbie never heard of haas. So, but we'll give you a chance. In fact, we can, Joel and Debbie, we can actually give you the chance to allow to talk to. So, Joel, you were first to raise your hand. You can unmute Joel, and then you can explain to us what it is that your question or comment is.
Yes, good morning. Yes.
Wonderful.
My question is that I just wanted to know how safe it is to store your information in the cloud, because currently my understanding there is other people looking into it or who secure it. So those people, they don't have access to it, to your private information? And that's my most curious question. Thank you.
Sure. Joel, very good question. It is very safe to put your information in the cloud, but it's not infallible. But the reality is that keeping your information in the cloud is much safer than keeping your information on a local device that you are maintaining, that is connected to the internet. Unfortunately, devices nowadays are so easily accessible through, we call them dark actors, people with ill intentions accessing your data, sending through viruses and ransomware through email, and you unknowingly open these attachments and they encrypt your data. So there's a lot of ways to get to your data, even if it's on a local machine that's connected to the internet. Fortunately, with information that's stored into the cloud, there's various security protocols that come into play to access that data. And there's various ways for us to secure that data even further without just the standard security protocols. Obviously the first thing first is, your username and password, that's the only way that you can access that information. But for instance, if your username and password has been leaked to somebody else, they might be able to access it unless additional security steps are put in place, which is available on all of these cloud platforms. And it is best practice for us with our customers who make use of these cloud platforms to make sure that all of those additional security steps are in place as well, so that your data is safe. The reality is that the security levels on information that's stored in the cloud, that security is provided by big corporations like Microsoft and Google and AWS and all of these people that spend millions of dollars on security. The level of security that you have access to within those cloud platforms are by far much more superior to anything that a small business can afford. So it's a resounding yes that your information in the cloud is safe as long as certain security protocols has been implemented. I hope that answers your question.
I think you do. Thanks, Joel, for that's a very important question, a security question. I resisted to give Facebook my cell phone number to my own detriment because I didn't have a two-step verification in there. I only had the password, and somehow someone got into my account, and for the business,
I know how that story ends.
They took over the business Facebook pages, and that stuff there that got us banned from Facebook, and we're still struggling to fix that problem.
Yep.
So yeah, that two-way verification makes it much more secure. But I didn't think about that, Petrie, that in fact it's more secure to store your data on a professional data secure service provider than it on your own hard drive. Wow, that is a good thought. Yeah. So Joel, I hope that answered your question. Debbie, if we can come to you, you are unmuted and you can speak.
Thank you. Hi, Petrie. Thank you very much for your presentation. Just a bit of background. I used to do training, but I used to take laptops into companies. And so I'm thinking of doing that again. And when you came up with HAAS, I thought, how would I be able to do that? And then with load shedding, how does load shedding affect that?
Debbie, yeah, thank you very much. And again, good question. Short-term laptop and device rentals are definitely available. And in actual fact, we're very fortunate to be part of it's called SAICA, the South African Tax Authority, that all the students on an annual basis go and write their final exams for. And We oversee those exams at the end of the year, and I think it's about 3,000 students, if not more, that does that exam. And a lot of those exams are done on rental machines, because either the students just don't have access to a laptop to write the exams, and all of it is online nowadays. So, they are provided with these machines on a short-term basis, even if it's a day or two, just to use that and have access to the device for the day. So it's definitely an option, depending on how long you need it. Obviously, it's going to determine the price point as well. And you can specify, what kind of specs you need on those machines as well. And you can extend that to more long-term agreements as well. We see a lot of customers nowadays opting for rentals of new machines instead of purchasing those machines up front. Because the benefit of that is, again, it's scalable. You get access to the latest model of laptop at a very affordable and accessible price point. But you also have the option to trade that machine in after, let's say 2 years, for instance, and get the greatest and the latest laptop model again, so that you're always up to speed with the current technology.
Thank you.
Debbie, you also had a question
Debbie,
about load shedding, and I'm not sure exactly. Perhaps, Debbie, you can explain a bit more what the concerns are.
Load shedding, because obviously if you train people, and then just another thing, financing. Do you do the financing, or do you have to go through the bank? Because would the bank recognize this if because it's a virtual machine?
Sure. We do have financing options available. Some we finance in-house. For larger implementations and customers that require, a bigger implementation, they might have, let's say, for instance, 20 or 30 laptops that they would like to finance. We're not going to finance them in-house, but we do have partners that works with those customers on financing options. It's not necessarily through a bank. They specialize in IT lease agreements or IT rental agreements. And yeah, like we will introduce you to those partners, and through them, they will facilitate with us as well to make that available to you on a lease or rental basis. Load shedding, yeah, load shedding has been fun, eh? Load shedding in IT, it's that's one of the benefits of going to more of a cloud platform. Where load shedding does not have such a big impact. As long as obviously we've seen the vast majority of people moving to laptops instead of workstations, because at least the laptop gives you battery time, and in most cases it lasts you, throughout load shedding, if not, generators and whatnot. But in terms of servers, that's where we've seen the biggest impact. People that are still dependent on servers and having those servers on site for mail delivery or for their accounting software and whatnot, they had to spend a significant amount of money in terms of power generation to keep those servers up, instead of potentially moving those servers to a cloud platform where they don't have to care about load shedding. Because once it's in the cloud, it's managed, it's on the Microsoft infrastructure, on Google's infrastructure, on AWS infrastructure, and they've got all of those power generation facilities available, and your servers are always online and always available. All you need is an end device with battery time to connect to the internet, and you're golden.
Yeah. Right. I'm wondering if we can be brave and ask if there is someone that is currently experiencing a bit of an expansion, or people are struggling with the technology. The technology is old. That's often the case too. Your computers are just getting too old, or you get the 2 staff members that keep complaining. Even if they're on a laptop, it doesn't even last the 2 hours that the load shedding is, because the device is so old. If there is someone in the room that is in that space of planning that expansion, we can perhaps talk through your specifics. So raise your hand, and you can get a quick free consultation here today, as an example of how we can plan implementation of improvement in our technology. So just raise your hand. or if you have another comment or question, sort of in terms of your experiences that that may be relevant. I think Joel was very quick to raise his hand there. So I think you win a prize today, Joel, for the most interactive participant, but we'll allow you to talk and then you can explain to us what your situation is.
Thank you. Yes, my situation is that yes, my gadgets, basically my laptops, they are on life support. When I'm saying life support, it means that when I take off from the battery, it doesn't store a lot of power for a long time. It's about almost 20 minutes to half an hour. So if I take off from the charger, from the adapter, then it dies. So when I'm busy, working or busy on let's say on the meeting like this, right now I'm using my small device, which is my mobile phone. I can't use my laptop. So if I'm, in a what you call a virtual meeting or things like that, I can't use my laptop because they die on me. So then I'm not able to access that, even if when I do my training or my let's say banking on my laptop, or that it's just go on vain. So sometimes I lose my work. Sometimes you're busy typing and you haven't saved your work and things like that, and then just go gone. So you don't know what to do. So yeah, so what will be basically what I'm able to do, because now I thought this gadget which I bought, like I got HP, it's only about 6 months old, and it's already giving me that problem. Every time tell me they recommend I need to buy a new battery, and I'm like, wow, 6 months old, what the heck is this? So that's this my challenge. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Joel. Let's just get the context a bit more, sort of in terms of, you spoke about a specific device now, sort of. So what is your business? How many people are on your team? How many of them are using computers?
I do have 5, basically, but my business is, because what we do is that we are in the manufacturing industry. We also do promotions, like when you do, we're packaging honey, we do maize meal, we do flour. So we want to need, to engage with a lot of customers. So we have people that, they have to put, the ads online, also to show people what we're producing, anyway, to arrange what you call testing of, the new clients, things like that. So that's basically what. Also, we are doing what called primary agriculture. So in primary agriculture, what we do that we also train small what you call emerging farmers. So so all kind of things that's why we have this kind of challenge. When we're busy training, in the farmers. Yes.
And those 5 people that are using computers, what do they use it for?
Okay, 5 they don't use it. Only 3 using the computers.
3.
So when
people,
using, 3 people they're using for training. So when we do training of what you call the emerging farmers, which one I need to know how to, for example, they want to need to know how to milk goats, or to do farming with to do what you call production of what do you call it onions or cabbage. So we need to go through, stage by stage with them. Sometimes we do, as I say, virtual trainings. So it will be online, face to face. We show them how it's done through that. So sometimes, it's not very helpful because we're not able to go through the whole process because of these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Joel, yeah, are you saying that was a new machine that was bought 6 months ago? Brand new out of the box?
Yes, brand new out of the box. I bought it from Russell's. It has they said it was a small package. It comes with a bag. It comes with a printer. It comes with things like that. So I thought, wow, it was a good deal. When I bought this, because I needed it. So there's other stuff which you do printing. So like when you need hard copies. So, but yeah. So then this happens. So I'm like, wow, I spent a lot of money and I've got nothing for it.
Yeah. John, unfortunately, battery is usually not covered under warranty, especially not if it's just losing, starting to lose capacity over time, because that's normal behavior for battery. It is quite a short time for that battery to go down to only 20 or 30 minutes of usable time after 6 months. But it's unfortunately one of those things that it's not going to be covered under the warranty of the laptop. Your only options for that, unfortunately, is a battery replacement. And when you do that, I would strongly suggest that, you go for, official parts. And, I know there's a lot of people selling batteries on Facebook and, all of these weird places. We've only seen, bad results with people, putting those second-grade batteries into machines because they don't last. We always suggest that you go proper, with the manufacturer of that machine and replace it with the proper brand. So unfortunately, it's not going to be covered under your warranty. And, anything with a battery is similar, whether it's your phone or, a UPS batteries, lifespan, unfortunately, is very dependent on the charging cycles and how the battery has been used over the set time. So your only option there is, unfortunately, a battery replacement.
Yeah, I did that for my son with a HP Take-A-Lot battery, and he's very happy. But yeah, it's also our behavior. So I'm not sure, from a hardware use, when you provide clients with hardware, Petrie, do you just send the hardware, or do you guide them in how they should best use that too? Especially around laptops, and we in South Africa have this situation where we have to manage our power very carefully.
Yeah, it really depends on what needs to be done, Christoph. Unfortunately, I think most of the newer laptops nowadays, it's not like a couple of years ago where the batteries were interchangeable. You could literally just flip it off the back of the laptop and snap a new one in. Most of these new laptops come with lithium batteries nowadays, which is internally built into the machine. So you do need to open up the machine. It's not something that we would suggest any person to just open up their machines, especially if there's warranties involved, because by just opening up the machine, especially if it's only 6 months old, you're going to void the warranty of the entire machine. So if anything else goes wrong, unfortunately, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. So we do offer those services. We can source those batteries if needed, and we can also fit them if needed. So yeah, very happy, and we're more than happy just to have a conversation about it and guide you guys and give them the correct advice. That's always something. And I've like Joel mentioned, sometimes people buy things because it looks like a good deal. I can tell you horror stories about good deals. Good deals, usually is not good. It looks good for a specific reason because there's something hidden away from you. It's either bad specs that you as an end user would not necessarily be able to identify, or it's older machines. There's just I'm very wary when it comes to those kind of good deals, and we are very happy to vet those good deals for you. Like, I've got very professional technicians and sales staff that would be very happy just to have a conversation about something that you want to buy, and you just want to speak to a friendly nerd. That's who we are. We are friendly nerds. We love giving advice, and just tell them, guys, like, I've seen this on X, Y, and Z platform. It's cost this, and this is the specs. Is this a good deal or not? And we'll tell you, listen, amazing deal. Like, we don't see anything wrong with this. Please go ahead. Or, maybe just look out for it. And if you would like to, we can give you some alternatives.
Right. Thank you very much. The details are there on screen as well. So reach out to Petrie and his team. Thank you very much, Petrie. I hope you can stay a bit more. We're going to have a conversation or two still relating to this topic, because I'm going to hand over to Nomvuyo just now. So Nomvuyo, if you can switch on your camera. And Nomvuyo is a good listener. Like most competent coaches are good listeners. So Nomvuyo, oh, I think I need to activate, because this is a second. Let's get you on screen. And if you can unmute as well. There we are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Interesting discussion, is it not?
Oh, it is so interesting, Petrie. So very interesting. I think I do hope that everyone is finding as much value as I have done. And you know, as you were talking, Petrie, there are three words that came to mind about your solution. You say you simplify technology, and I just want to add this: that how are you simplifying technology? And the three words that came to me is convenience. You know, your solution is so convenient. The other one is flexibility. You know, just the flexibility of when you are scaling up or scaling down, having a solution all the time. And the last one, which is so very important, is trust. You have stated just now how friendly, that you are a friendly nerd that gives trusted advice. So thank you so much. It has been very, very useful. It took me to a time, you know, when you spoke of HAS and the virtual workstations, I learned programming long ago in the 80s. I learned computer programming in the 80s. And then what we had was a keyboard, and then all the processing was done on a big computer.
Yes,
So that virtual workstation just took me
way
back
back,
to that
way back.
time.
Used to be called terminal servers. Terminal servers. I remember them well.
Except
Oh, thank
now
you.
that service is in the cloud, not on your premises anymore.
Yes. So we're going back full circle, you know. So thank you so much. That was an interesting discussion. And as a coach, there are certain things that I would like us to think about, because this is about value for money, isn't it? We are here because we want to extract as much value from technology and yet be able to reduce the costs. So when we think of value for money, we think of three things. We think of economy, which is the cost. And the main question becomes, how can we reduce costs? And then we think of efficiency. How can we increase output? If we have bought this laptop, how can we if we have bought this laptop, if we are subscribing to this SaaS, how can we extract as much value as we possibly can from it? But also the main thing is to ensure that what we have bought is fit for purpose, that we achieve the intended intended outcomes from it, that it is value for money. That when we think of value for money, these are the three things that we think of. So here are my coaching questions for you, for each and every one of us. They are for me as much as they are for you. Next slide, please, Krista. So let us ask ourselves. I want you to ask yourself, in order, as you look at your business, just reflect on your business for a moment. In terms of technology, what do you need to say yes to? In terms of SaaS software, in terms of HAS hardware, what do you need to say yes to at the moment? What is it that you have to say yes to that is going to elevate your business, that is going to take your business to the next level, that is going to grow your business? Look at your business and look at every area of your business and just ask yourself, what do you want to say? And I think Joel has already asked himself that.
He knows what he wants to say yes to. I think now yourself, what do you need to say yes to? In terms of reducing costs, maximizing output, ensuring that what you have or what you are going to have is going to be fit for purpose. What do you need to say yes to? Okay. Do we have any comments on the chat? Okay. Now, the next one is, for you to achieve the yes, there's something that you are going to say, have to say no to. For you to achieve what you are saying yes to, there's something that you have to say no to. I'll tell you, for example, I'm going to make a decision for me. I need a laptop, and I've said it before, so I just found a solution. So I'm saying yes to a new laptop. But for me to say yes to a new laptop, I have to say no to something. I have to find that amount of money that I am going to pay to rent. So what do I need to say no to in order to say yes to my laptop? Okay, so here's what Colin is saying. I think one needs to say yes to improving current operation skills and future business sustainability in terms of attracting more customers. Interesting, Colin. You need to say yes to improving current operation. What tool is needed for that? What tool do you need to say yes to in order to achieve that? What digital, what HaaS or SaaS do you need to say yes to in order to achieve that? And then what do you have to say no to? And the last question, so what's your next step? What are you going to do when you leave here, based on all the things that we have learned about OPEX and CAPEX, the things that we have learned about the benefits of OPEX solutions, the things that we have learned about the benefits that DialerNet offers? What's your next? And I really recommend that you make a decision now as to what your next step is, because often we go out of a webinar and we forget and we go back into operations. So what's your next step? What's the one thing that you're going to do when you leave this session? And that one thing may just be taking the tech audit that DialerNet is offering. What's your next step? Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Nomvuyo. It's one thing to get the knowledge, it's another thing to apply the knowledge. So thank you for guiding us in applying it to ourselves. We really appreciate feedback so that we can be responsive to the needs of the people in the DigiBiz community. So if you see there in the text chat, there's a link that you can click on, or you can scan this QR code. There's just a very short form. It will take you not even a minute to complete and to give us some feedback and some ideas in terms of what you would like us to focus on going into the future. And then, of course, register for the 25th of April. There's a very short form, just 3 fields: name, surname, email address, and you'll be registered for that event. But remember, you also need to be on the platform. So I'm going to hand over to Rashida now to just guide us through, sort of what's on the platform if you don't know that yet, and those of us that haven't signed up, sort of what that process is to be on the DigiBiz network. Over to you, Rashida.
Thank you, Christoph, and thank you, Ms. Petrie and Nomvuyo. Like, for me, this was really insightful because I'm struggling with exactly what you're all struggling. It's like managing the load shedding and the energy and all of that. And so what I really liked today was what I've learned how to apply to my business as well. So just really in huge appreciation to both of you for helping me land, my next step. And I hope I can also take part in that consultation. I'm sure I will. But yes, moving on to the platform. So this is the great content, right, that we bring to the platform. And since we've launched last year, we are now at 600 members. So you can access our platform live at the digibiz.net.za link. But if you prefer a more personal sort of contact, you can reach out to us via our WhatsApp community, our Facebook. We are also streaming live today on Facebook, which is great. And then also LinkedIn as well. So please do, if you want to engage, you want to find out when's the next event, you want to read up some articles on what's currently happening with members in the network. Also the partnerships that we discussed earlier on, we post regular updates on that as well. So yeah, so the closest you can get to us, I think, would probably be the WhatsApp group. So please do join, because that's where it's our first point of contact with you for everything that's happening. Join. There's other groups you can continue to join depending on where you find yourself in the ecosystem. And also there's an open discussion group. So lots of our members actually get to share what they're doing in that group as well. So we've tried to keep it simple and focused. And of course, you can always reach out to us directly via email as well. I'll post my email in the chat. Just to give you an idea, so on the platform, it's a members area. You can access it from your phone, you can access it from your laptop, PC, any device. It's an app that you download on your phone called Mighty Networks, which you then just search for DigiBiz, and you'd be able to find this particular platform, or you just go directly to the website, which Christoph, thank you for posting, has posted. And you will be taken to a live page where you join the members area. And as Christoph and Sifiso mentioned earlier on, we're only going to stick to the platform now because it's such a really good, we've tested it for the past year, and we're finding that it's a really good space that we can use to deliver to our members. I mean, like I said, we're at 600 already. So we're going to really start keeping these events focused. But of course, we'll always have the monthly webinar for now, at least to the public. But yeah, that's what we post. We also post the upcoming courses. We post our events. Later on, we'll start actually in this platform. You can host live events as well. So that is something too that we'll also add on later on. But to make that migration, we are sensitive of our members and where they access the platform from. So just reach out to us via any of the platforms, and I'll happily guide you through the process to get here on both devices as well. And yes, we have tasks, we have guides that we post to the platform on how to do sort of some of the webinars that we've covered. For example, we've had tips and guides and reviews on apps, on cybersecurity, how to best practice cybersecurity, previous webinars where we also had some really good content around how you can implement new technology in your small business, how to use productivity, how to use digital tools to get more productive in your business. And there's so much more that we're going to keep posting to the content. There is reports that we've done last year as well. If you really want to deep dive into all the activities, there's some the Digital Progression Index report, as well as the Practitioner Survey report that we've published. And okay, so the most important part, of course, is to how do you get onto the platform? So if you follow the link, the first thing you'll get, if you look at number 1 on the left, you'll get this page with a whole lot of people. That little button you click, it asks you, do you want to join? You just then fill in your name, your surname, your email. I think you'll create a password for yourself, and then you'll enter the main platform. Now, the main platform only gives you access to, our public content, like this webinar, for example. But all the detailed stuff, like the reports, the articles, the guides, being able to link up with other members in your community, close community, you'd need to actually get onto the members network area. In order to do that, you have a welcome checklist, which it will all pop up through you. And again, I'm here to support anybody who needs support to get onto the platform. I'll post my email shortly. But yes, you have to click like a eight question form in order to promote you to the members area, where you get then free access, by the way, to exclusive content only available on DigiBiz, that we basically curate for you to make sure that it's relevant to supporting your digital adoption, of course, in your businesses and in the businesses of your clients as well. So yes, so if you get this email, that means you'll be promoted to the members network. So once you get this email, you may even get it in a notification if you're using your phone. Just click the button to say join, because ultimately that's what unlocks your access to the content. If you have any access issues, reach out to us directly. Christoph has put in the email in the chat, and I'll put mine as well. But thank you so much again for joining us, and again, reach out if you need any help.
Great, thanks, Rashida. Thanks, Nomvuyo, for guiding us. Thank Melissa. You've been all in the background, sort of making sure everything happens. And it's sometimes someone needs to tell the boss what he must do. So thank you for telling Petrie that he must come here. Petrie, thank you for on the dot. We will post a recording, and I'm sure there's going to be lots of views, because it's a specific topic, but such an important one. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Some of us have said we want to get the order done and the report, so there will still be some contact with someone in the room with DigiBiz following this. But thank you, everyone. I hope you've got a productive Thursday and Friday and a great weekend ahead too. Go do the good work. If it's in your business, create the jobs, create the wealth for yourself, live your life to the full as an entrepreneur, express yourself. And if you're supporting other entrepreneurs, it's such an important job, guys. That's where we create the stability in our communities, is by supporting the small businesses. So great to connect, everyone. We'll see you all soon again. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.